Welcome to my new office. We're at my new job. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. What's poppin', what's poppin', what's poppington? If you want to see me get ready for a day on Capitol Hill as a Congressional Black Caucus Social Justice Research Fellow focusing on health equity, go ahead and continue watching this video. If you're not already, subscribe to this channel and prepare for a jump scare. We're gonna end up here, but we're starting off with no makeup on. Oh, hi friend. Oh my gosh, so oh no, I'm nervous. Not me being nervous, child. First time sitting down. Well, no, I kind of filmed a get ready with me during my first week of my fellowship. Not like a full one, but like I was filming while I was getting ready, and I was vlogging then, but this is like the real deal. I feel like my hair looks a little bit weird. Whatever. Hi. Okay, so we're getting ready today because I'm gonna basically be taking like some photos for me to announce that I will be doing the CBCF fellowship this fall. And I'm a little bit nervous about it because I have been very much so a ghost, very much so dormant, and we're talking about this while I'm doing my makeup. Okay, so that's what we're getting ready for. I've already filled in my eyebrows, but I haven't cleaned them up. Anything else? I haven't done a makeup type video and I don't know how long. You guys have been asking for it forever. I actually eat up the makeup content on TikTok, and so I plan on doing more short form content. I know I've been saying that for literally years, but I really want to start doing it, and one of those things is going to be like doing things that I don't necessarily do on my YouTube channel on my TikTok, because I am a well-rounded person. I like multiple things, as we've talked about when I was saying like announcing my summer sabbatical video, how I'm a multifaceted person. I have many different interests, many different areas of expertise as well, and one of them is definitely like makeup, all things like fashion, beauty, makeup, all that kind of stuff, and even just like the opportunities that come from being a content creator and doing social media. I feel like I've definitely put myself in a box. Thought I was doing it to help myself in regards to like branding and kind of like niching down and focusing on just like medicine and my journey to becoming Dr. Brelynn as like my main content pillar. And really I just kind of separated it from like personal and professional development. And there are a lot of things that fall underneath all of those things. But ultimately, I really just love doing lifestyle content, and I feel like, I don't know, it was a lot of pressure this past year, knowing that I was not going to matriculate into medical school, but it having been my 4th gap year. And I like to give myself some grace because it's not like I've been sitting around. Okay, I put this tag on Too Faced lip injection extreme on, and I don't do it very often. This is probably the worst time for me to do it because I'm trying to talk to you guys and my lips are burning and I'm over here like, so anyway, all right, yeah, there was a lot of pressure that I feel like I kind of both put on myself and then also allowed for my audience to put on me by solely focusing on my journey to medicine, especially because it has just been like so untraditional and things like that. And so I feel very nervous about announcing this is what I'm doing this next year, because I know a lot of people assumed or were expecting for me to matriculate into medical school, and you know, so was I, but I ended up ultimately choosing to take this additional gap year. In the meantime, as I have already like reapplied to medical school, the biggest thing is that this time I applied early. For the past couple of, well, I've only applied to medical school 2 times too. I think for a lot of people, it feels like it's been a very long time. It has been a long journey, but I really only applied to medical school twice. The first was with my first master stats, and after studying for the MCAT for 6 months on my own. When I was unsuccessful, I was like, well, I'm gonna need some help. I don't really think I can get in just with the stats that I have off of my own merit. That's why I did the MHS program, and ultimately that was supposed to matriculate me into their medical school, but I decided that that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. Although I still want to matriculate into medical school, I really love DC. Appreciate the fact that I have a growing community here in the DMV, and I don't want to give that up. I don't want to pick up and move. And I think that it was really hard for me to try and think about how I was going to like explain that to my audience, because I think a lot of times people in the medical field praise only focusing like your life being consumed by medicine. I think that we can admire the fact that doctors sacrifice so much for the field of medicine, but I also think that it's extremely unhealthy and that there has to be a balance, and things are changing. Like even the way residency programs are working now, like people are talking about how it's not okay, or even like the amount of hours that doctors have to work. Like doctors shouldn't have to be zombies in order to show that they are caring of people, you know, and want to care for people. But that's kind of a problem later on down the line. But I see it manifest now here and today. It was kind of like, you know what, I don't want to move for school, not at this current point in time in my life. I completely think that if this would have happened even just 1 year ago, like maybe when I was 25, especially if I was 23, 22, 21, you know what I'm saying, fresh out of college, but now at this point, I have lived in multiple different states. I don't want to say ready to settle down, but I do want roots. I do want community and network. And I feel like I was picking up and leaving and kind of just like setting seeds, but not able to ever see their harvest because I was constantly moving. And I think at this point in time in my life, things that are super important to me are my family, and things like not being able to be around my family for even more years. It's really interesting because like to my family, they're like, oh, you're in medical school already. And it's like, no, I'm not. Sometimes I've been kind of close, but technically like I'm not in medical school. And so for other people, it can seem very much so, you know, Brelynn's not available to do things because she's busy or away at school or focused on school. And that like breaks my heart, because I know that that's not the stigma, but that's like the reputation that professional school students have, like not just medical school students. You know, when you're going into a season when people just kind of know like we probably can't reach out to them at this point in time. And that really breaks my heart, the way that even like my family kind of treats me now. Like I don't get invitations to things. I'm not expected to be at places, and I'm like missing out on memories. And especially after the passing of my grandma, which was a big reason why I wanted to move back to the DMV, I'm like, I don't want to miss out on those moments. I don't want to not be invited. I don't want to not be there. I want to be there for as much as I can be. And I think that if you're at least in the state, you know what I'm saying, the invitations can at least come in. If you can't be there, that's one thing. But when you're not in the state, that's a whole nother thing. And I think that when we were all young and all in different states, like our cousins and our families and things like that, it was one thing. But now that everybody's kind of like come back home, it's like for me to be gone at this point in time, I just really feel distant from my family. I think it's really important for me to have that solid foundation. I've mentioned many times, like this is the place where I've always wanted to live, and I really want for my roots and things to be here. So with that being said, because I was having to apply on the timeline of the school that I was attending, my application ended up being really late, and it only allowed me to really be competitive for the school that I was currently attending. Now I am reapplying again, and I've done it early. So currently it's September when I'm filming this. Who knows by the time y'all are watching this? Probably October. I don't think we're too far off from returning back to social media, back to life. But currently, yeah, it's September, and I have back again waiting for an interview. Oh, I did talk to you guys. I didn't actually mean to post that, but I ended up doing it, and I didn't realize that I did. But Yes, I did end up having a medical school interview. Like I said, I was very proud of myself just for the simple fact of like, that's as far as I have come so far. And so I think this season has been difficult for me in some ways because it feels like I'm back at square one, but at the same time, I'm not. I have improved, and like I said, even if it's like, oh, this is my third time applying to medical school, there are plenty of people who have similar experiences and stories and things like that, but I'm just the only one who's documenting it like step by step, day by day, week by week on social media. And so it just makes like my failures feel very loud and the eyes feel very big, and the pressure just was getting to be too much. And so with that being said, I only wanted to do one thing this year for this gap year. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna take another gap year, I see this program. I was really excited about the opportunity, but it was very competitive to get into. I just allowed myself to kind of just see if it would fall through or not. So it was the only thing that I applied to it, like probably the end of May. Yeah, probably like after my graduation, I applied to it. And like the application didn't close until June. So I was kind of just like, well, until then, I'm just gonna be resting, you know, traveling, enjoying my life. My nose is running. I'm a little bit underneath the weather. Anyway, what was I saying? If you're like me, now I don't know if I got ADHD, you know, and nowadays, especially on TikTok, it's so easy to self-diagnose yourself. I don't think I do. I don't think I do, but I definitely think that I'd be a little bit scatterbrained sometimes. It'd be hard for some people to follow, but for other people, it's like, okay, good. I was about to zone out anyway, and then you switch topics. So sorry if this is like all over the place, but also like, this is just how I talk all the time. Like even when I'm on FaceTime with my friends, and then we hop back. Like when me and Ryan are on FaceTime, and she does have, well, I think she has ADD. Yeah, child, we be popping. Our conversation be all over the place, but it's always a good time, and that's why we can stay on the phone for hours and hours and hours. Anyway, so what was I saying? I was saying that I applied early, and so after my application was in, long story short, I ended up interviewing in June, and they told me that I wasn't going to hear back from them until, I think they said the end of July. So literally at that time, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go on my social media sabbatical. I went on my travel trip. I did like a 2-week solo travel trip to Europe, and that was really fun. I went to London, Amsterdam, Brussels, and Paris, and then I went back to London, and that was for my 27th birthday. It was actually a really good time. Now that it's been like some months, I'm like, wow. I mean, when I was there, I was very just grateful to be there, just so excited and blessed. I really haven't had like a summer in a really long time, because I'm either like preparing for a pageant or preparing for school or working. And so I knew that if I got this fellowship, it wasn't going to start until September, which means that I graduated in May. That means I was going to have May, June, July, August, and the beginning of September as like my summer. That's the longest time I've ever taken a break, like just had kind of no responsibilities ever in my entire life, I feel like. So I really enjoyed it. I took care of myself. I had a really great time. Like I had a really great time. I have no complaints. I really enjoyed it. At the beginning of August, I think like August 1st, it was like I wouldn't say it was a long process. It was a long process, but there was a lot to get this fellowship. There were a lot of essays. I had to show examples of my writing, give examples of my research, letters of recommendation. You know, I feel like it was a little bit more than like your average research place or like your average job. Like it definitely was a lot. And then they end up sending like our applications out with like the didactic information to the sponsors. There are these different corporations that basically sponsor the foundation, and therefore they are my sponsor. So I work for the foundation, but on behalf of the sponsor. They are the ones who ultimately got to choose which candidate got pushed through, and I ended up getting chosen by my sponsor as the Health Equity Research Fellows. Basically, that was a really long way of saying like, what am I doing this year? I'm going to be conducting research as the Health Equity Fellow with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation as a part of their National Racial Equity Initiative for Social Justice. I know that was a long statement. That's literally like my job title though. Like, I am working for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, which is in connection with the Congressional Black Caucus. And for a lot of people, it seems like this is like a very political type of fellowship. And it's just amazing to see how God's timing has grown for me to be in this position at this time, for where this is something that I'm not only qualified for and eligible for, but also interested in. Like 2 years ago, I wouldn't have been interested in having a position like this, but now I am, because as a fellow, I'll be conducting research on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, but specifically their Center for Policy Analysis and Research. So I'm working with the Congressional Black Caucus, which, if you're unfamiliar, it's the caucus of all of the Black congressional members in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. We do the research and then present it to the congressmen and women. That way they can make the decision whether they're going to make policies or even just support some that come to their attention. There's a lot of ways and reasons why this is still in line with me. Oh, I also need to start off a new pair of lashes. I haven't been wearing lashes recently. I told myself I was going to give myself a break, you know how when you just be wearing lashes too much and then you just don't like your face or like your makeup or your face, let's be honest, you just don't like it without it. And it's like, that's not okay. Like, we should like our face without the extreme spot of lashes on. But I do have some that are more natural that I'm gonna put on today. I've shown you guys these before. I got these lashes off of Amazon, and with that being said, in this particular video, I'm not really focusing on the makeup, but you guys can kind of see how I do like my go-to like pink cut crease eye. And if you guys want like a full detailed tutorial, where did I put my eyelash? I'm still getting used to doing my makeup, especially full glam in this area. This is, by the way, the girl cave. Welcome to the girl cave. Welcome to the girls room. I can't wait to do like just more chit chat videos with you guys here so that we can continue to talk and get to know each other. And like I said, just not hyper focused on this one area of my life, which is medicine, which I'm not blaming you guys for. That's something that I like totally did myself, but now I'm just trying to expand our horizons a little bit more. Anyway, I say all that to say that I'm not really focusing on the makeup. I will have everything linked down below for you guys, including these lashes if you're interested. And in the future, if you guys want me to really go through and talk about like the specific products, y'all can barely see because I'm using black, I can definitely do that in the future. But I told y'all that I'm already scatterbrained, so right now it's a little bit too much for me to try and think about the products, also everything that I'm trying to convey to you guys in this video at the same time. Okay, it's a good lash day. Let me tell you, the lash can make a break. Like, that'll be your 13th reason, you know what I'm saying? If the lash isn't doing what it needs to do, and it's like if you have to reapply a lash, like, oh my gosh, at this point, take the whole makeup off. I don't even want to go anymore. Like, that will literally get me so upset. Okay, so what was I saying? I was saying that it's really cool because our fellowship program, first of all, there's so many amazing things about it. One, it's directly connected to the Congressional Black Caucus. So not only do I do 6 months doing research for the Center for Policy Analysis and Research, but I also serve as a legislative aide for 6 months on Capitol Hill with one particular congressman or woman. And the thing that I think is really cool about that is similar to kind of my overall experience with policy so far. As you guys know, I started my women's health initiative, Birth Equity for All, and it's so crazy how like pageantry honestly is a big pillar into bringing me here, because when I was like, you know what, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, you should go into politics after this, like you should run for something. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to run for anything, but the reason why I have a recent like love for policy is because it is my goal to make an impact in the health of Black maternal health. And when I was creating my new women's health initiative and in general my social impact initiative, which is now my service initiative, it's like crazy because it's two separate things. Like Birth Equity for All is like my heart, it's what I care about, it's my passion, it's also what I feel like my purpose in life is, but it's also like this outside organization that I have, and it's also my platform for pageantry. But just speaking about my own personal purpose, wow, that was so loud, I felt very like, what am I doing with my life? It's actually something that I wanted to share with you guys because I think it's really interesting. I have this friend who is just a lover girl. She's such a lover girl and she is doing amazing in life, but like she recently went through a breakup, and for her it's like, if I don't got a man, like nothing is going well in life. Like if I don't have a man, I don't have a man. And sometimes I'd be like, girl, like you are so boy crazy, you know? And it was cute when we was little, but now I was like, girl, but I also get, because now we're at the age where it's just like, but I want to get married. Like everybody around me is getting married and having babies, and I do get it, but I just think it's so interesting because I could not be bothered. But for me, when my career isn't going well, nothing is well. It doesn't matter like what else is going on in the world. And during this time I was talking to my Morehouse brother Malcolm, you guys know him, and he told me this phrase that has literally stuck with me now for weeks, and it is so simple and so ghetto, but it's just allowed me to put things into perspective. And that is the notion that just because your career isn't going well doesn't mean the life isn't going well. I live an amazing life. I am so blessed. I am so happy. I have so much love. I have so much joy. My relationship with God is stronger than ever. I have community. I live in this nice apartment. Like, skin is glowing. Like, life is good. But it makes, sometimes for me, it's difficult to live in that fact when the same fact at the same time is like my career isn't where I would want it to be. And that's without even comparing to anybody else. Like I said, I really just compare to myself. Like I am not where I want to be. And because I feel like being a doctor, specifically an OBGYN, focusing on women's health is part of the reason why I'm here on this earth and the change that I want to make, it really bothers me to not be living in my purpose. And that can trickle down to being a lot of pressure on this process of matriculating into medical school. It's more than just like, oh, you didn't get in this year, like you can do it another year. I can, but every year that I'm not doing that feels like it's a year that I'm like wasting my purpose here on the earth for like what God placed me here to do. And it's a bit dramatic. I hear myself. I know it's a lot, but I think it's just something where I don't think everybody's career is their purpose, and I don't think that everybody's purpose is aligned with their career. So I think that for me, it just makes it really difficult because I do think that mine is, and I'm not in my career yet. I'm doing really well for myself to not have actually entered my career yet, but it makes me even more antsy. Like I want to get in there so I can start, you know, making changes, making impact, doing the thing that you put me on this earth to do. So that is why it's sometimes really difficult for me. But I say all that to say that with this fellowship, there are different kind of categories of experts that are chosen to be the research fellows. So you have people who, well, first of all, for this fellowship, you have to have a graduate degree. So the people in my programs are lawyers, masters of educations, they have PhDs, multiple masters. Like, you know, you think you're somebody when you got 2 masters? Child, you're not. But what's really nice is that I am the health equity expert. So whenever there is, again, new policy that is initiated or brought to the desk of these congressional members, they are not healthcare professionals. They are not in the field of medicine. They don't know what actually like all these things kind of mean. Or even if they're like, you know what, my constituents are telling me that maternal health care is a really big problem, but I don't know what type of policy I should create in order to help them. That is where somebody who is an expert can come in and kind of tell them like, these are the stats, this is what's going on the groundwork, and this is how you can make a difference as the person who has the actual power. And so, like I mentioned, I'm going all over the place again, but with Birth Equity for All, I really realized, like with pageantry, advocacy is a really great way for me to still make a difference in the realm of women's health and Black maternal health without being a doctor. And it's honestly on an even larger scale because as an OBGYN, I can only care for the women who are in my doctor's office or who are in, you know, at my hospital. But when you change policy, you are creating like a legacy legacy of change that will impact literally the entire country, especially with this being, you know, federal government. So I really grew a passion for advocacy, like I said, in this past year for that reason. But when this opportunity came up where I'm like, okay, I need to do something in this next year, I knew that I didn't want to do another year of like being a medical assistant or being a scribe. Although I do like miss patient interaction, I loved talking to patients and like wearing the scrubs and like doing surgery. Like I loved all those things, but like realistically speaking, I'm getting older and those jobs like didn't pay enough. And it was fine when my mom was like, okay girl, like, you know, it's your first year out, you know, you could do, but now it's not giving that. Like now I don't really have the luxury. I don't know how. All respect to the people who do medical assisting as like your career job and not as like an in-between job or even like being a scribe. But from my personal experience, and also DC is very expensive to live in, it wasn't like a livable job. So I wanted something, and when you're not making enough money and it's like an in-between position for you, that's where a lot of resentment comes from. So I know I have seen like previous comments of people saying like how I didn't enjoy like when I was working at a doctor's office, blah, 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 blah. One, and I made a whole podcast about it. When I worked at a doctor's office, the work environment was toxic. I was actually traumatized. So it wasn't the fact that I didn't love working with patients and interacting with patients, but when you have the stress of like living at home, I love my mom, but that experience is different for everybody. For me, it wasn't a positive experience. Not making a livable wage, you know, being in this in-between state, like it was compounding effects that made the entire experience not be positive for me. But I loved working with patients. I loved doing surgery. I loved all of that. So I wish I could, but when it just comes to the field of healthcare, you really can't do a lot without certifications. And you can be a medical assistant in the state of Maryland, I think even in DC at some places, without the actual certification. So like I said, I did that for years, but I knew that's not what I wanted to do this next gap year. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna take another gap year, I can't go backwards. Like I can't go back to the doctor's offices. If I felt like I needed to, which I do plan on doing this year, I would love to continue to volunteer to be in the spaces, because I do want to continue to be involved, because when you're in it, like you're just like, oh, I want to help these people so much. Like it's so inspiring to be in the spaces. But yeah, no, like for it to be your everyday job is a little bit different. So I decided that I was going to do the research route, which I haven't done. I've had, like I said, 4 gap years now. And again, give myself some grace. It's not like I've just been twiddling my thumbs. I've taken the MCAT twice. I've gotten 2 masters. I've lived in 3 different states. I've competed in like 6 pageants. Like I've gained thousands of dollars in scholarship money. Like I've actually done a lot in my gap years. A lot. So I also try and give myself some grace and be proud of myself in that way. Sometimes it's hard, but I try. I tell that to say that I wanted to do something different, and I haven't necessarily done research. I have like this academic medicine internship with a medical school mentor of mine who is based in Nevada, so it's virtual. It is research, but this is definitely different. So I was really excited to do some type of research for this gap year. And low-key, I'm almost done my makeup, so I kind of have to hurry this up. Hopefully that kind of explains the gist of this research opportunity. And again, like I mentioned, it is a fellowship, so I am a health equity research fellow. There is also like an internship program. I believe the interns, and also with this fellowship, either be a research fellow or a congressional fellow. So there are about 11 of us all together in this cohort. Half of us are going to be doing research for half the year and then on the Hill for half the year. And then the other half are going to be on the Hill for the entire year. So for this first 6 months, I'll be doing mainly research. The Congressional Black Caucus has its own publication. So I'll be writing for the journal. I'll also be writing for like blog posts, and I will also be writing, like I said, policy analysis. Because it's a fellowship, which is really nice too. I was afraid, I'm like, although I'm a master of physiology and a master of health sciences, I haven't had to write like dissertations, or, you know, a lot of time these master's programs, you have to like write something as an exit thing, and I haven't had to write in a really long time. Luckily, I do consider myself to be a good writer. I think it's because I talk so much, and also I read. You read a lot, you can write pretty well. I was definitely kind of nervous about that, but because this is a fellowship, it's a lot of leadership training. First of all, it's a really, really great network. So this has been going on for like years and years and years. So there is a network of alumni, both from the internships and the fellowships, people who are doing amazing things now and who come back and help, whether it be teach or speak or whatever, so be able to receive trainings on how to write public policies. And also something that's really cool about doing this fellowship as a part of the foundation is that they do a lot of on the ground work, I guess you could say. Like, there are opportunities for me to travel and to honestly gain cultural competency as we go to different cities across the United States and really listen to the people and ask them what are the different concerns that they have. We're doing the research and then we're able to go back and then write about them and give them to our different congressional members. That way they can make legislation to help solve their problems. Other than the people who are interested in political careers, there are actually a lot of public health people in this space as well. And I think you can kind of see why, because it's that really great sweet spot where you are in direct connection with people who can make a difference, but based off of your knowledge that you are sharing with them from your research. So I'm really looking forward to all of those travel experiences, to be able to see different parts of the US, especially from a different lens. And then, like I said, also to develop more cultural competency and gain a better understanding of the different socioeconomic statuses and different cultures of Black people, but throughout the entire United States. That's another thing too. What I've experienced so far is that the Congressional Black Caucus is like the HBCU of Congress. Like that's exactly what it is. It's the HBCU of politics, of like federal government. So everybody is Black and they're also like pro-Black. So all of the work that we're doing is all about advancing the lives of Black people. So you don't have to pretend like, oh, like this is something that I want to do, but it may be a little bit too, like, I forgot to put on my cream blush. I think I can still do it. Hopefully this doesn't mess up, because this is the part right here. If you powder too much, but Juvia's Place blushes, by the way, I'll tell y'all about this product right here. I've got two of these. I also have the Rare Beauty ones, which I like, but these things are potent. You need a drop, a drippy, a drip, and it's gonna go far. Please don't mess up what I have so far, because the base, honey, is basing. But yeah, when I talk about the network that I want to build in DC, this is a great opportunity for that, not just for this year, but literally for life. I'm really excited about the professional network of leaders. Really, really cool to be a part of this. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel so important. I feel like I've got a seat at the table, which is really, really cool, especially for somebody, like I said, who's not necessarily into politics, but who has grown a love for policy, because I can see difference in the impact that it can make, especially with it being a space of Black people, with Black people, for Black people. Like, y'all just know, I love being around us. It just makes me so happy. It allows me to be free, allows me to be creative. So I really, really love the fact that I'm basically at like my third HBCU with the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. And then another pro to this fellowship is touching on the conversation that I was previously just having about how this is an annual salary position. So it's really nice to not have to worry about the income that I'm making this year, something that is livable, and it's like a really, really big blessing. Not just make enough money to make enough money, but make enough money to save, with the understanding of like what I have planned for my future. I'm pretty sure that I am missing a lot. Mini Q&A of maybe what you guys would ask me. I'm really struggling because I feel like I'm oversharing, and I'm trying to step back from oversharing. But A, I really am excited about this, and B, I think that what's interesting about the Congressional Black Caucus is that they're wanting for people to know the work that we are doing in the community. And so they're really into like just influencers and creating content and like just showing people, you know, the things that are going on. Like even when it comes to like legislation, like if you don't know that new legislation is being passed or that it's something that you have to vote on, then you're losing your voice, type of thing. So I think that that's also a really fun part of this experience, is that I won't feel, oh my gosh, I hope I did not just break my powder. Okay, we good to go. You guys can basically Google what the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation is, but like I said, It is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, nonprofit. I was turning around my nose ring, not digging up my nose. If you know, you know. But organization that supports the efforts of the congressional members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Another thing that I'm really excited about, we are considered to be scholar activists, which is like a term that I don't think that you can give yourself. I feel like it's something that you have to earn, and I feel like I've earned the title through this fellowship. Although I've been already doing the scholar work with me literally getting my master's in physiology and health sciences, and also doing the activist work with my Birth Equity for All work, and just the advocacy that I've been trying to do in general, like I said, for maternal health. But now in this space, these two things are able to intersect, which is really, really cool, and it's unique, especially for Black experiences and Black voices and Black issues and Black concerns. And I explain more about the research that I will be conducting as a health equity fellow. So what's really interesting is that I'm just getting started, but everybody has their different area of expertise. And so when I wrote my essay, obviously I talked about if I were chosen to be the health equity research fellow, that I wanted to focus on maternal health, specifically Black maternal health and the maternal mortality crisis here in the US. So a lot of research that I do will be focused on that. But if there's ever any other health related research that the Congressional Black Caucus would like for me to do, I am the only health equity fellow this cohort, so that will basically be my job and my mission, which I'm excited about. I think it's a really good thing. It's going to allow me to be a better healthcare professional in general, because I mean, there's more to a human than just her ovaries and her giving birth, although that's a really big, you know, pain point for Black Americans, Black women, things like that. There are other things as well that greatly impact the health of Black Americans, like for example, heart disease or even like breast cancer. Black women are actually the leading demographic for both of those diseases as well, unfortunately. Okay, next question. What are the benefits and opportunities that come with the CBCF fellowship? I feel like I've explained a lot of that, but definitely just stay tuned to the vlogs, honey. Make sure that I'm not crossing the professional boundary. Definitely, if you guys are not already, follow me on my Women's Health Initiative Instagram at Birth Equity for All. I'll probably be sharing on there when my research is published. I have about 3 to 4 publications this year, which again is a really big deal. So we're talking about the benefits of this. Like in this next year, I'm going to be able to say that I have 3 publications in the field of health equity. When I told my mentors this, everybody's been really excited, because this is not just good for obviously your medical school application, but this is going to be good for your residency application. Like you are going to be a published girly, which is really exciting because I don't really have any publications. Although I've done research, I haven't been published. And also with this, I do have to do a capstone project, which is going to be like 30 pages. We'll get more into it as the year goes on. We'll be around the end of the fellowship. It's going to be like 30 to 40 pages, and it's all going to have a presentation along with it. So what's really nice is that I'll be able to then use that research and take it to different conferences as a first-year medical student, because I've already done the work of doing the research this year. And lastly, how will this fellowship contribute to your long-term goals of pursuing medicine? If it isn't clear already, I am still pursuing medicine. I still want to be a doctor. I still want to be an OBGYN. I'm still applying to medical school. I'm still on my way. Like, please, please, please don't be in my face talking about some you should be, because y'all know how I feel about that. I think that y'all, hopefully, I don't know, I haven't posted in a while. The goal is, like I said, to go take these pictures today and then post it on social media tomorrow. And I have definitely been very anxious about the feedback that I get, because although I know people are going to be like, congratulations, people who are going to be like, this doesn't feel like it matches, it doesn't make any sense or whatever. And I just have to, I know that this is a great opportunity and something that's going to look great on my resume for years to come, not only in medical schools, but like I said, also in residency. And so I've been really trying not to let the negative comments or like the fear of negative comments take away from the joy that is being one of 11 cohort members and the only health equity fellow this year. This is a really, really great opportunity, but I cannot lie, I've been kind of like scared to show about it, because sometimes people project or they're just like confused. They don't really understand, like, because it's not the traditional path. And it's like, yes, this is another very untraditional thing of me, but it's all going to make sense one day. It's all going to come together. It's very much so giving, like, just trust the process. But like I said, I have grown in love with advocacy work, and this is like advocacy work on steroids. It's not something, like I said, that I would have even dreamed of doing, but now that I'm here, it does match. It is a good fit. So the advocacy work, the impact that I'm able to make, like I said, I do feel like I'm living in my purpose. I also really enjoy the fact that I'm seen like as an expert in this space. Something that is really cool is that they look to me like, you're the master of physiology, you're the master of health sciences, you know this information, we trust you. There isn't this becoming aspect of this space. Like, even though we're fellows, it's like they trust me, and that all the experiences that I've had so far that have led me here are basically good enough. And that's a really good feeling, again, while being on this process and this journey of becoming. Like I said, I'm still becoming Dr. Brelynn, but I'm also in my Being Brelynn era, and this is a really good way to be Brelynn. It's like, Brelynn is already a master of physiology. Brelynn is already a master of health sciences. And now she can be that in these spaces and it be enough. And it's not, oh, I'm about to be, I will be. Yes, I will be a doctor. But in this space, not being one is good enough. And even though it's always already good enough, sometimes it just doesn't feel like it, you know? So I think that answers everything. Full glam is done. We're gonna get dressed, we're gonna head to the Capitol, we're gonna take these pictures, and we're gonna announce to the world that we are a Congressional Black Caucus Foundation Health Equity Research Fellow for Social Justice. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Ring the bell, that way you don't miss a notification from me. Follow me on my social media at brelynn.hunt. I cannot believe that I am remembering to say this stuff when I literally haven't even talked to the camera. Like, I do this, period. And I cannot wait to get more in my content creation bag, because I have the mental capacity to do so this year, which is also a really, really big blessing. And I hope that even if you're not into makeup, I know for me, I enjoy listening to people talk when they're doing things. It's like I'm watching and listening at the same time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed like this chit chat, get ready with me. And if you want more, definitely let me know. For all of you guys who've been begging for makeup content for years now, because I had not done like just a full makeup video in years, you better give this video a thumbs up, and you better comment down below saying thank you, Brelynn. Can't wait for the next one. You're welcome, boo. I'll see you then. All right, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you soon. Live your shit to the fullest, because you only live once. Bye. I ain't gonna hold y'all. This isn't my best since I was obviously distracted, but she still ate. What's that say about me? Okay, exactly. Okay. Exactly. Bye, y'all. Welcome to my new office. We're at my new job.